Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. My name is Nancy Thurlow. I'm the major advisor for the Biotechnology program. And what we're going to do today is we're going to introduce you to some of our faculty, some of the resources that we have on campus, and you're going to hear from student speakers. So let me just... And today we also have the Master Advisor of Biotechnology, Professor Diane Beckles.
Hello.
And here's what we're going to go over today. So we're going to have a message just from our Master Advisor. She's going to briefly go over some things. Then we're going to hear from faculty from the 4 different tracks in the biotechnology major. Then we're going to have a section on careers and resources, and then we're going to hear from some student speakers. And with each section, we're going to have a Q&A. So at that time, I want you to feel free to either type a question in the chat or just unmute yourself and ask a question to our speakers. So without further ado, I will let Diane take it away.
Okay. Hi, my name is Diane Beckles, and I'm the Master Advisor for the Biotechnology major. Just like you, I'm pretty new to this job. I've just been here for 2 months in this capacity, but I'm really excited about the potential that you guys have as students entering into this major. So first, a little bit about myself. I'm an associate professor in the Department of Plant Sciences. I'm from Barbados, and I did my bachelor's degree and PhD in England. I did my bachelor's in biotechnology, so I'm really passionate about this field. So welcome to Davis, and I know these are unusual circumstances to begin a new phase in your life, but I think that there's all sorts of opportunities here that I want you to take advantage of. And I also want you to know that you're absolutely welcome here, all of you, regardless of where you're from, what your background is, your religious beliefs, your race, nationality, language. You belong here, and we value you and we see you. So with that, you're started as freshmen in the biotechnology major. And we want to, sort of create this pathway of success to get you from where you are now to where you want to go in the future. And we know that you haven't quite solidified that as yet, but in your journey and in your exploration, we want to help you to get there. So I have a few pieces of advice for beginning students, and this is just based on my observations of students who've been very successful in this major. And I'll just put them out there, and if you have any questions, you can ask later. So first, it's really important to ask questions. If you have looked for information and you can't find it, ask someone. And sometimes, next, that requires you to be brave. There will be, as I said, all sorts of opportunities available on this campus. Some of you relish the chance for, new adventures and meeting new people, and others a little bit shy. I'm going to ask you to step out of your comfort zone. Good things usually happen when people do. Next. I think it's a really good idea to be organized, especially since a lot of our activity now is online. Get yourself a planner, figure out some app or some program to help you to organize your time, your classes, so that you can be very successful here. Next, be informed. Now, a lot of the information that you will get will come by email. And I want you to really think about organizing your email folders so that you have places to put the right data. So for instance, Nancy's going to send you information related to the major. Some of it will be important, and she'll usually send it with a little urgent note. Others will be information that you really should know. So even if you can't read that email when it comes into your inbox, I want you to put a little bit of time aside at the weekend to read all of the major related emails. And you can do the same thing for your class. In this way, you will always be informed. Next, find mentors. So there's been a lot of social science studies that show that people who successfully navigate their career, that they have others who they go to for help and advice. So a mentor doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be a professor and be old and knowledgeable in any field of study. Mentors come in all shapes and sizes. Could be a fellow student, somebody in the biotechnology club, your academic advisor, students in the peer advising group, Nancy, just find people who know things that you want to become more proficient in and ask questions. And that in some part maybe require you to be brave. Next, self-care. All right, so there's all sorts of crazy things happening in the world outside of us that we can't really control. So I'm going to ask that you actively take steps to nurture yourself in a way that is helpful and will help you to move forward. Next, this is a big one. Take responsibility. So you're moving away from high school or maybe community college, and you're coming into a really large university where it's not going to be so easy for a professor or an advisor to follow you all the way through from the beginning to the end. You really have to take responsibility for your career. And this is part of the journey of becoming a graduate from the university. So, understand that there are people here to support you, but you have to drive this bus yourself. And next, so I have what I would like to call pillars of support. And Nancy is probably going to be one of the most important people in your life here at UC Davis. She's the foundation of the biotechnology program. And in support of her, we also have the peer advisors and the faculty advisors like myself. So you'll be able to meet, I think, one of the peer advisors and some of the faculty advisors in the major. Use us, ask us questions. Let us help you get from being a freshman to a graduate and going on to a successful biotechnology career or to grad school. The Biotechnology Club and the Internship and Career Center, also really important sources of information. But at the end of the day, finally, you're the person who has to drive this entire bus. So now I'm just going to ask a quick question just to see if you actually listened to what I had to say. But this poll question is designed to summarize and to have a take-home message that I want you to leave here with today. So to start out on the right path at UC Davis, you should do this. Save and read Nancy's emails, organize your time, do nothing, or join the Biotechnology Club, or all of the above. So hopefully you have the option of picking more than one answer here. So have a go at that question. I think we have to.
I think there's only an option to pick one, but we've got some big organizers here. Everyone, okay. Mostly organize your time, save and read my emails. Thank you very much. And a lot of all of the above.
Okay, so I think that's fine. That's perfect. Okay, so I think that was my part of the program. Organize your time. Excellent. Yeah, I think that's the big one. So if anybody has any questions for me right now, I'm happy to take them. And I really look forward to meeting with you either via Zoom or in person someday.
Thanks a lot, Diane. Okay, so now we're going to jump into the option tracks in the major, and we're going to start off with the Fermentation Microbiology track with Professor Matthias Hess.
So first of all, I really would like to welcome all of you. And as Professor Beckles really said, these are really novel times, and what's really important, I believe, is that you understand that we're all here for you. The really, I believe, cool thing about today is really that just like Professor Beckles and you guys, this is also really new to me. So this is the first time I participate in a welcome session here. And so I also didn't really know what to expect, but again, I'm very excited that you guys are joining us. I also recorded a video message, and really the same, what I was saying in there, which also holds true for today, is really, despite the fact that there are novel challenges every day right now, I think this is also really, really great opportunity for all of us. So really take this as an opportunity to learn new things, make new friends. Of course, that's a little bit more difficult right now than it would have been otherwise. But again, I think these are great opportunities. Now, what you see on the slide that I basically prepared here is a flag of Finland. And you might think, what do I have to do with Finland? And to be honest, I'm not from Finland either. But one of the things that you might take home from this particular case is, if Nancy, if you can forward it, is basically, if you go to the exactly, one of the things that the Finns have, and that's Santa Claus and some reindeers, but there's actually really something much more important, I believe. And there is this annual survey where organization looks at happiness overall in the world. Oh, yep, exactly. So if you look at this is kind of a ranking of how happy people are in the world. And what you can see here is that Finland really is leading, followed by Denmark and Norway. And really, what I want to take you home, what I want you to take home from this is, if you go to the next slide, Nancy, please, is what they also have in common. What you can see if you look at individual components of the Finnish economy, and that's kind of on the graph that you see with the different colors. So if you look at the different times how we have been progressing with economies, so in the early 1800s, early 19th century, there was an economy that was based on natural resources. So, and what's also important is, if you look at the y-axis, is basically that we have that plotted against gross domestic productivity, and then also well-being. So another version of really how happy are people. So that's really correlated about the income, but then also how well and how healthy you are. So if you really look, and again at the different graphs here, what's plotted is, so you nature-based economy, and then you look at the fossil-based economy. But really what took off more recently is really the biotechnology economy. And again, if you correlate this with what you have seen for Finland, the Finns have a really enormous bioeconomy-based economy. So again, really taking that into consideration. Now, if you look at all the different aspects that we have been looking here at UC Davis specifically, we look at fermentation products, so let that be wine or cheese or bread. That all goes together really what you are going to learn in your program. And if you take that to the next level, really here, being in Davis, being in California, if you look at the map that you see on the right side, this is basically shows you the opportunities that you might tap into. So different companies, and actually the amount of money they make and how many people they have employed in the biotechnology sector. So you can see this specifically in the Bay Area. There are enormous opportunities for you to come. So it goes back to what Professor Beckles said. Take responsibility, ask questions, don't be shy. For now, that also means reach out, via email, introduce yourself to each of us. All of us are really happy to meet you right now on Zoom, and hopefully eventually later in person. So with that, I'll take it back to Nancy or Professor Beckles. And again, I'll stick around for Q&As, and then you can also ask me some questions later. And then there's a poll question here. And so hopefully, I didn't really talk about this specifically, but I hope you can actually really, think about this yourself a little bit, and really thinking about the challenges that we are facing right now. And I would like to get your opinion about, is biotechnology, will that play a major role in really finding a vaccine against COVID-19? So is that a true statement or is it a false statement? All right. I think that's the perfect answer, and I hope you guys will have an impact as well. Most likely, hopefully, we don't have to wait that long for the vaccine, but you will have some impact, that's for sure.
Thank you so much. Okay, next we're going to go into the plant option with Professor Diane Beckles.
Okay. Thank you, Matthias. Thank you, Nancy. So scientists estimate that to meet the rising population growth, that we're going to have to double food production by the year 2050. And this is what a lot of the professors on campus in the plant sciences department and also members of the biotechnology major are working towards. And so now I just want to tell you why UC Davis is a wonderful place to explore plant biotechnology. First, the climate in the state is magnificent. You can grow a range of crops and plant species from lettuce to redwoods. And next, thanks. Because of this, the university has been able to attract world-class scientists to the university who study plants from all different aspects. And the good thing is that a lot of these professors are really student-centered, student-focused. They enjoy teaching and they enjoy mentoring and having undergraduate interns like yourself. Next, a lot of the faculty on campus have, gotten together and created centers for studying plants at all levels, from the molecular level all the way up to the phenotype, how they grow, the leaf size, color, root morphology, to be able to get a comprehensive understanding of plant structure and function, and to be able to relate that to the expression of genes. And next, and on campus, we also have excellent facilities. The Transformation Center was designed to help faculty develop protocols for transforming plants to support genetic engineering. And next, we also have a tilling facility on campus. This is a way to genetically engineer plants without creating GMOs. So there's no new DNA added to the plant, but you can make targeted and specific changes at the DNA level. And finally, one of the most exciting things about studying plants here at Davis is that because of all of the factors that I've mentioned before, we have a really wonderful cluster of seed companies in this area. Many founded or where we have a lot of employees who are Davis alumni. And so they come back to campus every second Thursday of the month for Seed Central. And this is an opportunity for faculty and students and researchers to interact with people who work in seed companies in this area. And a lot of undergraduates have been able to get internships just from showing up and meeting with these professionals. And I would really encourage you to take advantage of this opportunity. So now I'm just going to ask my poll question.
Sorry, one moment.
It's okay. But yeah, hopefully you'll have some emails sent around to you about the Seed Central. I really encourage you to participate. Okay, so my question is, why is UC Davis a great place to study plants? Option, many crops thrive in California because of the climate. We have lots of seed companies with close ties to the university. On campus, we have excellent facilities for plant growth, transformation, and molecular analysis. And we have world-class faculty who believe in mentoring and teaching, or all of the above. Okay, yes, perfect. Thank you very much. I hope that, in listening to my presentation on the plant options, that you become interested and you explore a little bit more about this area. Okay, that was my presentation on the plant option. And I think now I have to talk about the animal option, which I'm not as qualified to do as Mike Miller, who was scheduled to lead this discussion, but he is absolutely not able to be here, and he really regrets that. So I'll just do my best to describe why I think the animal option is also a very exciting track along with the plant and the micro option. I want to make it as difficult for you as possible to decide which option to specialize in. So UC Davis is ranked #1 for plant and animal sciences. We have a lot of really cool research happening in the animal sciences department. So among other things, there's work to gene edit cows. I don't know if you've seen any of these items in the news where researchers there have edited cows so that they don't make horns, or at least very dangerous horns, and also engineered cows so that they would produce more males of the species, which is important in terms of beef production. There's also a lot of work to reduce the harmful emissions of raising cattle and eating cattle to reduce or minimize the impact on greenhouse gases. So students in the animal track will take classes related to animal genetics, animal sciences, molecular and cellular biology, and even neurobiology, physiology, and behavior. But it's really an exciting time. Faculty in animal sciences are taking advantage of the new biotechnology tools to move ahead and create new frontiers in this field. So I think that's all I have to say about the animal option. And I just wanted to pass on Professor Mike Miller's regrets that he could not be here.
Thank you so much. Okay, so next, our last track is the Bioinformatics Option with Professor Dan Runcie.
Hi, so yeah, I'm Dan Runcie. I'm a professor in the Department of Plant Sciences here. And I'm also want to welcome you to Davis. Really excited to have you here and hope to meet many of you over the next few years. So yeah, I'm the advisor for the Bioinformatics Option. And I wanted to start by sort of saying a little bit about why I'm interested in bioinformatics, why I think it's an exciting place, exciting field to study. So there's lots of definitions of what bioinformatics is, but one that sort of encompasses many things is an interdisciplinary field that develops methods for understanding biological data. And it usually focuses on computers or using computers to help us with those or computational tools. And so in some ways, it's a great way to study biology right now because we're stuck at home anyway, but you can still do biological research from our own computers from anywhere. And so some of the major topics in bioinformatics right now is genome assembly. So, assembling the genomes of people, of plants, of animals, of microbes all across the space of life. And then trying to figure out how they work. And so studying gene networks, how genes work together, the 3D structure of proteins, gene expression, and then trying to collect all this information into databases. And so right now, there's just been explosion over the last couple decades, but really over the last couple of years of the amount of data that's been collected, and then the sort of how that data is presented to users of all types in biology. And so I just listed a few here of these sort of newish initiatives that are sort of transforming a lot of how we can study biology in general, or genetics, or biotechnology. And so Biobank at the top is this humongous data set of human health outcomes and genetics in the United Kingdom, with something hundreds of thousands of people are in there, and there's some really interesting discoveries that are coming out of that. And it's all because we have databases and we have computational tools to study that. The Genomes to Field initiative is a consortium of researchers across the country that are growing corn in hundreds of different fields, and then collecting all of the data together so we can study how different genotypes of corn do well in one place but not in the other. Cyverse is this massive supercomputer network for doing biological analyses. And so there's lots of opportunities taking advantage of new technologies in biology and new sources of data and modeling that, that bioinformatics option is about. So next. So in this option, some of the things that you'll take some courses in in bioinformatics in general. So both on the computational side, computer science courses, and more on the biological side, what types of questions can you study with bioinformatics. Beyond that, you'll take courses in genomics, a little bit more computer science, microbiology, and then get some options to explore these applications in a bunch of different fields of biology, such as genomics or evolution or statistics and mathematical biology. And then internships in either academic labs here at Davis or other places or in industry. So here's a poll. So my question was, what fields of science does bioinformatics draw upon? Is it biology? Is it computer science, statistics, mathematics, or all of the above? All right. Yes, I mean, I think about bioinformatics as this glue that links all these different fields together, and to be a bioinformatician, you get to experiment in all of these things. So I think it's a pretty exciting field to study.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the Q&A portion of this section for our faculty. So if you have any questions, I want you to feel comfortable to unmute yourself. You can ask a question, or if you'd like, you can just submit a question in the chat feature. So now is your opportunity. You've got these great resources here at your disposal. So please feel free to ask your questions. I should note we probably won't move forward until I get two really good questions. Okay, so we have one. Do all of the specialization options have internships as part of the coursework? I can actually answer that. In the biotech major, everyone has to complete an internship, regardless of the specialization. A note with that is you will need to get your faculty emphasis advisor's approval on that internship to be applied towards the major requirements. And Diane, I don't know if you have any comments you want to add to that.
I think that's a perfect answer.
Okay, great. Let's see. Someone asked, okay. Sorry, I'm keeping up with these questions. How many electives are required for the bioinformatics track? So we have all of all these questions are popping up. I want to encourage everyone to go into the academic catalog. I think I've sent it to you guys a few times by now, but look in the academic catalog and look at each of the specialization tracks. Typically, it's about 9 units of restricted electives. I believe Fermentation Microbiology has a little bit more, it has 15. But I want to encourage you to go into the academic catalog, review the major requirements, look at each of the classes that are in all of the tracks. And Diane, I don't know if you want to take this one. How do we get a chance for doing undergraduate research?
Yeah, I think there are 2 questions in the chat related to this. So we understand that with the restrictions placed with COVID-19, it's not going to be easy to do a traditional internship. So what we're working on is to have opportunities for virtual internships. So we're developing a website. We're trying to pull together these opportunities and to be able to present them to you so that you have that as an option and as an option to gain internship credit. So not all virtual internship opportunities will meet the mark for academic credit for the biotechnology major. The worst case scenario is you do an internship where you just, you become part of a lab and have that connection with other scientists. but we really do hope to have some options for students that would allow you to develop and sharpen your scientific skills, even though you're not going to be doing a lot of wet lab research. So we understand this, we're working on it. Things have been a little bit slow because, you know, our workflow has been affected by COVID-19 as well. But for you incoming students, I think we should be able to take care of this issue. So hopefully that answers your question.
Thanks, Diane.
Let me actually add something to this, Matthias. Let me add something to this. I think Dan was actually talking about this quite a bit. So this is really, I believe, and a lot of my work is also really, you know, takes into consideration all these bioinformatic practices. So if you are interested in some version of bioinformatics or computational biology, this is really a great way to get internships. I mean, it will be not as straightforward as it would be compared if you would be in person. But I mean, I have a couple of students that are just starting out right now, and we try to get them on board and teach them a little bit of bioinformatics. Again, this will, it goes back to what Professor Beckles was saying, take responsibility. This is really now, it's very challenging, we understand this, but it's also a great opportunity. But if you're interested in that field, you might just have to help, you know, try to get at least a basic understanding of some bioinformatics skills, which you might otherwise have acquired through in-person contacts. But this is something that you might be able to do right now. And as soon as you have a little bit of a background knowledge, it will also be easier for professors to match you with a project that have been going on, where you basically then can be involved. So again, bioinformatics, I think, is a great opportunity here to really get involved, to get some internships. Yeah.
Great, thank you. I wrote this in the chat, but just a quick note. You want to solidify your emphasis track by your 6th quarter if you're a freshman right now. If you're a new transfer student, we might have already had this conversation, but you probably want to figure that out a little bit sooner, probably in the next couple quarters. If you have any questions, or once you have figured out which track you'd like to complete, you can always reach out to me. We can create an academic plan based on that. Professor Runcie, I have a question for you. What are common career options for this major, specifically in bioinformatics? And I believe you're muted.
Hi. All right. Sorry about that. Common careers for people in bioinformatics. Well, there's need for bioinformatics in all sorts of biotech companies in all areas of biological research. And so people from the who do bioinformatics concentration can go in all sorts of different ways. Drug companies need bioinformatics for designing drugs, for doing trials. There's lots of bioinformatics in breeding companies, in plant breeding and animal breeding, yeah, and then there's also bioinformatics that's used in the public health field, and so there's in government agencies and things, and so it basically, I think of bioinformatics and computational biology in general as really providing you a great skill set that's in high demand in all sorts of different fields. That helps.
Great, thank you. Let's see, so we've got a lot of good questions. Here's a really good one for all of our speakers. What qualities do most internships look for in undergrads? What can I do to increase my chances?
So the first quality is not very exciting, but I think if you could be reliable, you can prove that you will show up when you say you will and follow through on tasks. That's important once you get the internship. Before then, I think you have to present yourself as a serious individual who is willing to do what it takes to help the lab or the research group along. And that will be conveyed in your first message to the lab. You know, how do you present yourself? How do you convince this professor that, you know, they should take time out of their busy schedule to mentor you? So if you have a well-written, prepared email where you demonstrate knowledge of the lab and what they're doing, and where you can convince them that you have some skill, it may not be a research skill, but you know, some tenacity, some interest that will drive you to, you know, do what it takes to help that research. I think that's one of the most powerful ways of helping yourself along with an internship. That said, you know, the first email that you send to a professor is not going to be successful most of the time. You have to be persistent. You may not get a response immediately. Send the email again and again, you know, show that person that you really are interested in joining the lab. And just that tenacity alone will indicate potentially to the professor that you really are the type of individual who they would want to have working on their project. So, so on the Biotech website, I've written a document, a primer of how to go about applying for an internship, how to compose the letter, what skills, what qualities professors want to see when they contact you. We'll try and get that up as soon as possible, but that document could be very helpful to you and to anyone when thinking about, you know, how to get your foot in the door, first of all, and then impressing the lab that you join.
Okay, we have some other good questions, but we're only going to take 2 more questions right now because we do have to move forward with time. So there is a question, if you're interested in pharma, what would you say is the best option to do?
So I don't know if so the students who are interested in pharma, I think they have not limited themselves to any one option. I've certainly seen a lot in the plant option. I've known students who were fermentation and animal and bioinformatics who were interested in pharmacology, but I'm probably not the best person to ask that question. But I guess what I'm saying is I don't think you would be limited if you were to make a decision or to declare in one of the 4 options in the major. I think you could still get to pharma.
And I'm not sure if we answered this already. Which track would be best to get into something like stem cell research?
I would hedge the bet and say the animal option, because you know, that as a system, as a biological system, animals are closer to humans.
Okay. All right, great. Okay, one last question. How easy is it for someone in the bioinformatics track to get into a data science or computer science master's program?
I think it's definitely a reasonable way to go. You would want to extend beyond the computer science courses that are required for the bioinformatics track to take more computer science to be more competitive for those programs. But you will take courses in these programs, and having an applied sort of aspect to your data science goals will help you for data science programs, in particular ones that are more biology focused.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, well, I want to thank our faculty for speaking today and sharing your wisdom. And now we're going to move on to, oh, before I do that, if you could see right here the link at the bottom. So we have a full list of biotechnology faculty advisors for all of the tracks. You've only seen a very small portion. This is a small representation of everyone that we have here as a resource to you. So you can go to the Biotech major website under the advising tab and see a full list of all the faculty advisors as well as their contact information. Okay, so we're going to move on, and I'd like to introduce Dr. Danielle Jamison Mcclung, and she's going to go over biotech careers and ingredients for success.
Hi, everybody. So can you hear me well?
Yes, you are good.
Okay. Sometimes my microphone's a little weird. So Yeah, I wanted to talk today just generally. My role on campus is I'm the director of the Biotech program, and under our umbrella, we have something called the Designated Emphasis in Biotechnology, which is a PhD program. So we have about 200 PhD students from 29 different disciplines that cross a lot of the topic areas we just heard the faculty talk about. And I just wanted to encourage all of you to not stress out about which track you're going to go down for the biotech undergrad major, because all of them are going to offer good preparation for a range of science careers. And so you don't really need to be too worried that if you go on the bioinformatics track, you're going to end up not being able to go into pharma, or if you go on the animal track, you won't ever be able to work with plants, for example. So definitely, if you have a passion for a particular area of science, it would be good to get some more training in depth in that area. But I just wouldn't worry about it too much. The one thing is that just as you worked really hard to get into UC Davis, whether you came as a freshman or are a transfer student, you're going to have to keep doing basically the same things you've been doing. So building your technical skills and doing well in your courses is sort of baseline. But then you're learning professional and business skills now, maybe more so than you did in high school or community college. And when you work with faculty, you need to think about the fact that they are basically small business people, and their laboratories, they run like small businesses. And so just as Professor Beckles was saying, that reliability is one of the main things they're going to look for in interns. So if you want to get an internship and develop some more of your lab-based research skills and professional skills, you're going to need to sort of be a good employee. Think of yourself as an employee as well as a student, and you're going to need to learn to work in a team. Laboratories are filled with people that have different levels of skills. There'll be people in there that are graduate students. There'll be postdoctoral scholars. There may be some permanent research scientists like technicians where that's their career. They're going to work in the lab, you know, for hopefully 20, 30 years and work on some of the same research and build up that knowledge. And so learning how to work in a team and manage your projects and be a responsible participant on a team is very important. So you can do that a lot of different ways. If you're not able to get into an internship right now, some of the other ways you might be able to do that is by volunteer work, maybe sports teams. There might be some other community groups and things that you're involved in. So those are all ways you can build professional skills and project management skills. And I know for our PhD students, they were very, very worried with the pandemic and getting internships. They're also required to do internships. So not all of the internships went away, but I will say that Genentech, 23andMe, and a lot of places pulled back their internships for this summer. And our students were very worried. And just like the professors in the biotech major were talking to you about making alternatives, we made some alternatives for our PhD students. So they're doing some online things, some blogging. Some of them are doing business development internships that just require customer contact, more in the sales and marketing space. So there's a lot of different things that we can do to make sure you get your internships in. And so don't worry too much about that. Worry more right now about doing your coursework and getting comfortable with the pace of the quarter. Those of you coming from a semester system based community college, the quarter goes really, really fast. So that's something to keep track of. The other thing I have on my slide here is mentor-mentee network. So just as you had to get letters of rec and people who can sort of vouch for you, maybe for a job or to move on for scholarships or going from high school to college, you still need to build those connections going from undergraduate to graduate school or out into the workforce. And so again, back to reliability, being a good employee, if you work in a professor's lab, really try to put your best foot forward, because that person's likely going to be one of the people that can help you move to the next step in your career. So very important to show up when you say you're going to, and to be a good team player. So that's, next slide, please. So that's kind of in a nutshell. So sort of the things that you probably already knew. And then this is just a really a big overview slide. So in biotechnology, there are many what they call platform technologies that are useful across many different fields. So for example, if you learn how to do tissue culture and work in a hood and do sterile technique for plating cells and tissues, that's going to be useful in plant biology, in animal biology, in pharma. So there's some key concepts there that are going to translate across. The other thing is if you learn informatics skills or data analysis skills, like some R programming or how to be really good at MATLAB or SAS or some of those programs people use to analyze data, that's going to be useful across all fields of life sciences and engineering. So really work on building your skill sets that are the broadly applied skill sets, as well as taking classes that you enjoy learning about the particular system of interest, whether that's plants, crop plants, wild plants, evolution and ecology of animals and plants, or whether you're very interested in farm animals, livestock. We have all sorts of things here at Davis that are going to be interesting for you to take a look at. And so we just want to offer you our sincere best wishes. You're starting in a time that's a little different, a little unusual, but I think we will get through this, and you're going to end up with some great training out of our institution, and hopefully able to make some good connections with one another and with different faculties. So be encouraged. It's going to be fun. You'll eventually get your hands on stuff in a lab, and just keep in mind that the same kinds of skills you built all through high school and community college, we'll just be adding on to those things in undergrad. It's not that different, and graduate school again is just more adding on. So yeah, pay attention to your advisors, get your things done on time, and otherwise try to have as much fun as you can with our current situation. So are there any, I guess it's not question time. I'll let Nancy direct us. What's next, Nancy?
Yeah, so we're going to have a Q&A portion. We're going to hear from 2 more speakers,
Okay.
and then, yeah. So thank you so much. So next we're going to hear from Elizabeth Ann Barajas from the Health Professions Advising, which is located on campus.
Thank you, Nancy. So as she mentioned, my name is Elizabeth Barajas. I'm a staff advisor for pre-health advising on campus, although now we're virtual, of course. First of all, I wanted to start out by saying welcome to all the new students, freshmen and transfers. And so I have kind of a brochure here of what we offer for HPA. This is a quick map of where we're located physically once we get back to normal eventually. We are located over by the Student Health and Wellness Center and Human Resources, so you can come visit us there. But for now, everything is virtual. We're doing virtual orientations, we're doing virtual meetings with students, everything is over the phone or over Zoom. But to give a brief overview of what HPA does, we help students who are interested in any kind of health profession. And we'll help students from the first year that they arrive at UC Davis to any time in the future. So we can help students, current students as well as alumni, with any part of the process in preparing for these health professions and also in the application process. And there's a list of the health professions on the next one, but I'll get there in a second. So some things that we help with are gaining experiences, helping students figure out which experiences are best for them. We definitely encourage you to think about which experiences you're actually interested in rather than what you think medical schools or nursing schools or PA schools are looking for. You want to go with what you feel is interesting to you. We also help with planning out your prerequisites for those health professions. And I want to make a distinction there because we can't help with a 4-year plan for your major. That's where your major advisor comes in. And so we work alongside that, and we help you with planning out your prereqs for preparing for the test that you're going to take, like the MCAT, or any of the other tests for pharmacy, dentistry, anything like that. And then you'd also want to work with your major advisor to make sure that you're fulfilling the prereqs for your major as well. We also provide test preparation, writing help. That's my specialty. So once you get to the application process, or if you're applying for maybe some student-run clinics or some other opportunities on campus or off campus, I can help you with the writing that you need to do with that. And we definitely encourage students to get involved early and often. So one big thing that we do every year, this is the biggest pre-health conference in the United States. That is our pre-health conference, which will be held on October 17th. You can register online, just go to our website, and it'll direct you to that. And we also have some upcoming orientations that we would definitely recommend that you come to. There's a pre-dental orientation tomorrow from 6 to 8 p.m. There's also pre-nursing and pre-PA on Friday from 4 to 6. Pre-med orientation is Saturday from 9 to 12, Saturday the 3rd, that is. And the first year class meeting and subsequent class meetings are all going to be next week. So starting Monday is first year, Tuesday is second year, Wednesday is third year. And let's see if there's anything else. We definitely encourage you to sign up for our newsletter. So if you can go to our main website, hpa.ucdavis.edu, you can sign up for the newsletter. You can get lots of different information about opportunities for your experiences, upcoming events, different things that we're putting on. Can you go to the next slide, please? Oh, maybe it didn't show up. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I only had one slide.
No, that's okay. So I just wanted to give an idea of some of the things that we offer, or some of the health professions that we will cover and help you with. So that can be anything from allopathic medicine, being an MD, to osteopathic medicine, being a DO, naturopathic medicine, nursing, dentistry, clinical lab sciences, physical therapy, pharmacy, optometry. Pretty much everything that's health related we will help you with, and also vet med, of course. And see if there's anything else on this one. I think that was, oh, and I did want to mention that we emphasize holistic advising. So we take everything into consideration when we're offering advice to any student. We take into consideration your journey, your story, different things that you've gone through and overcome on your way towards your health professions. And so then we will help you to bring those things out, balance them with your metrics, your GPA, your test scores, your experiences, and then you as your attributes. And finally, I want to say that we definitely encourage students to get involved with us. So you can be a part of the pre-health conference. We definitely encourage you to participate as soon as possible. So you can sign up again on our main website. But also we would encourage you to become a moderator, maybe in a future year, get involved with the planning, because it's pretty much just student run by our peer advisors. You can also become a peer advisor in the future. And let's see, I think that was everything I wanted to mention for now. So please, if you're interested in pre-health, make an appointment with us as soon as possible. You can meet with one of our staff advisors or one of our peer advisors. They're third and fourth year students. They've gone through a lot of the same things that you have, so they are really good resources. All right.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Okay, so now we're going to hear from Raina Smarkle from the Internship and Career Center.
Hi, good morning. My name is Raina Smarkle, and I am a senior career advisor with the Health and Biological Sciences area at the Internship and Career Center. Signing in from Sacramento, California this morning. Do let me know in chat or turn on your mic if my audio isn't coming through clearly. So our Internship and Career Center really strives to promote career and professional development. We support students in their internship and job searches, which we know is a little bit different at this time. And there was so much great advice from the speakers beforehand. And it's also really our goal to connect students with employers. So some of the different ways that we actually do that. Well, one, all new incoming students, both freshmen and transfer students, you all have an account on a system called Handshake. Handshake is our online career platform where you can look for positions, look for internships, schedule appointments with our office, our advising appointments with staff and peers. You can also connect with students at both UC Davis and other institutions to see where they intern and where they're working. So it's a really great networking tool. And employers actually look students up within the Handshake system. So we're going to encourage you to use that. I was mentioning earlier that we provide one-on-one advising both with our staff advisors and our peer advisors, and that's all being done virtually over Zoom or phone call at the moment. The staff advising is by appointment, and the peer advisors is via drop-in. And in those meetings, we go over things like resume review, cover letter review, interview prep. We can talk about your strategy of how it's going with your internship or job search. If you're not quite sure what you want to do with your major, we can certainly discuss different job titles and different paths, and is graduate school needed or not. So a wide variety of topics in our one-on-one advising sessions, but almost all of those topics that I just mentioned are also provided either as workshops or videos. So we've moved our core informational workshops, like how to write a resume, how to prepare for an interview. All of those are videos that you can watch at any time on our website now. And then we're trying to do specialized workshops during the quarter. So this upcoming quarter, we'll be doing LinkedIn Lunch series where we can talk about how to best use that tool, LinkedIn. And then also Appy Hours, where they're different themes, but we help you with applying to jobs in our Appy Hours in a group session. So in addition to that, we also host the quarterly career fairs on campus, which are this upcoming year going to be hosted virtually on the Handshake system. And the quarterly career fairs are both for UC Davis students and alumni. So the one-on-one advising that I mentioned, that you're eligible for that while you're a current student, and then also for 1 year after your graduation date. And then your access to things like Handshake and our career fairs never expires. Nancy, if you could forward to the next slide, please. I just want to leave you with a couple of tips of things that you can do right now. Number one is download our career resource manual. It's about a 50-page PDF. It's my absolute favorite document. It's got all kinds of tips about job search, networking, how to write a resume, how to write a cover letter, and then lots of samples of both resumes and cover letters. I encourage you to log onto your Handshake profile if you haven't done so already, and start to fill out a little bit about your background, any kind of work or volunteer experiences you've done in the past. Set your job interests and preferences. The more you tell Handshake about the kinds of jobs and companies and employers that you're interested in, the better results it will give you. So feed that Handshake algorithm. Save the dates. Our virtual career fairs, the first two for this fall quarter, are coming up on October 14th and 15th. And actually, registration just opened yesterday. You can register on Handshake. You have to do two things. You have to first register for the event. And then second, employers have set up both group and one-on-one sessions for students. You have to actually sign up for those sessions in advance. And if you're interested in participating in this fair, I encourage you to do that sometime this week because they just opened for registration yesterday. And yes, this is our first time doing these career fairs on this new Handshake platform. So the sooner you can sign up, the better. And then we'll have some prepare for the fair workshops over the next few weeks. And then the last thing to do is to follow us on social media. So we're on all of those platforms listed there. We do, like HPA, also have a newsletter. So you can sign up for that on our homepage, icc.ucdavis.edu. Shout out to HPA. They have an absolutely fantastic newsletter as well. So I encourage you to sign up for both if you can. And I'll go ahead and wrap up there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Raina. Okay, so we already got a couple questions coming in, but right now we'll go into the Q&A portion for our careers and resources presenters. So Raina, I think this one is for you. Someone wrote if you have any videos or workshops for writing cover letters.
Absolutely, we do. So we have a series of short videos. They're like 3 to 5 minute videos that I just put in chat. That'll have a little bit of information on cover letters. But then let me get to one other. I'll send you the link to the slightly longer ones. I'll get it in a sec so you can move on to the next
Great.
question.
Thank you. Let's see, does anyone else have any questions that they want to type in, or if you wanted to unmute and ask as well? Abigail, I just saw your question right now. I don't know if, Diane, if you're still on, there was a question about the tracks, about which would be recommended to be a genetic counselor, or maybe Danielle, if you want to answer that one as well.
I'd think that maybe animal would be good. Maybe animal or fermentation. You just have to understand what chromosomes are doing. So that's at more of the cellular level.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. The animal option may be best, but I honestly don't think that you would suffer if you were to enter into the other options, because as Danielle says, um, people want to see that you have a fundamental understanding of genetics and genomics and gene expression. And then you may have to take some additional courses on, the counseling side of things.
Great. And are our handshake accounts already activated? Raina, I don't know if you want to take that one.
Yeah, I just typed it in the chat. They should
Perfect.
be. We are having a little bit of technical difficulty with the handshake software. So it's actually a system that's not just at UC Davis. It's at over 700 universities, and they've been putting so much energy into their new virtual fair platform that a couple of things have been kinky. If you have any issues with handshake, feel free to email me, send me the details of what's going on, and I'll be happy to look into it.
Great, thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank our speakers for participating today and sharing your knowledge. And if anyone has any questions, they shared their contact info, but I can also share their contact info as well. But the main resources you want to go to is the ICC website and HPA's website as well. Okay. So we're going to move on now to our student speaker portion. So we're going to have 4 different student speakers. And our first speaker is Jada Santos. She is a current junior and a Biotechnology Club officer.
Hi everyone, I'm Jada, and just a little bit about me. I'm 3rd year biotech major with an emphasis in microbiology and fermentation. I was Officer of Public Relations and Marketing last year, and now I'm Vice President this upcoming year. Basically, our goal as a club is to provide a welcoming and safe environment for members to explore biotech and to also meet with others with similar interests. We mainly provide academic support, advising, and resources. And we're open to all majors, such as the ones listed below, but even if you have friends who are non-related STEM majors or the ones listed, they're always welcome to join. And I have one more slide. So for our events, they mainly consist of informational meetings, such as speed advising, what classes we recommend. 2 of the other officers are 4th years, so they can help with their experiences here at Davis. We help out with class schedules, internships, or resume and cover letter workshops. There have been company tours in the past, but with the current circumstances, that might be a little difficult to coordinate. We have guest speakers. For instance, last year we had Dr. Yoder, who was the previous biotech advisor, and he just gave a little bit of advice about undergraduate research, joining labs, working in the industry. And we also have social events such as fundraisers, study halls before midterms and finals, and even game night. And lastly, for our contact information, we have a listserv where we update all of our announcements and activities, and you can just shoot us an email at ucdbiotechclub@gmail.com. And we even have a Facebook page where we post about the upcoming events and activities as well.
Great. Thank you so much, Jada. Is there anything else that you want to share? Which track are you actually studying right now, Jada? Do you want to share that?
Yeah, so I plan to be microbiology and fermentation emphasis, and I'm not too sure exactly what I want to do after I graduate, but I'm still using these last couple of years to explore my options.
Great. Thank you so much, Jada. Okay, so next we're going to hear from Tasia Selvage. She is a current junior and also our biotechnology peer advisor. Tasia, are you on?
Hi, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, awesome. Hi everyone, my name's Tasia. I'm a third year biotechnology major. My emphasis is the same as Jada's, it's microbiology and fermentation. I'm also the peer advisor, so if y'all ever have any, need any advice, need to look over classes, need advice about any, like what classes to take, you can feel free to schedule an appointment with me this quarter or throughout the year or throughout your time at Davis. I can help just give advice about classes, advice about internships, how to fill out internship forms, and things kind of along those lines. So that would be a great resource. You can do it through the appointment system. And then a little bit about me. I was interested in biotechnology like my senior year of high school, taking like an AP bio class. I found that biotechnology was really interesting. And I didn't really know what emphasis I wanted to do until probably like last quarter. And that was just by taking a bio class. I took Biz 2A. I don't know if y'all probably take that maybe first year, maybe second year. And that just kind of went over like metabolism and like learning about glycolysis and everything. And that like really made me interested in microbiology and fermentation. So that's how I sparked an interest. What I recommend is just take all your classes, maybe take some GEs that maybe relate to your emphasis, just so you can get a feel for what you like and then even what you don't like. For example, I took a plant science class and it was really interesting, but I kind of checked that off that I didn't want to be plant science emphasis. So I do recommend just taking as many classes that are related, even in your like chem classes and your math classes. See what you like, as well as what you don't like. And also, I'm in the same boat as Jada as well. I'm not super sure what I want to do after I graduate. However, I do know that there's a lot of options. And I think it's not that I don't know what I want to do, it's just how do I narrow down what I want to do? Because I'm interested in a lot of things. It's just what I'm most interested in is really what I'm trying to narrow down. But yeah, with this major, it is very broad and you have a lot of opportunities handed to you or like handed out there. So all you have to do is just find them. So yeah, feel free again to set an appointment up with me and we can go over your interests and then just how you want to spend your rest of your career here. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Tasia. So her appointment availability will be posted likely by the end of this week, if not early next week. And you can go to the appointment system just like you make appointments to meet with me, and you can find Tasia under Biotech Peer Advisor. So thank you a lot, Tasia. So next we're going to hear from Megan Shee. She's a senior graduating this year, class of 2021. Megan?
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Hey guys, my name is Megan, and like Nancy said, it's kind of crazy, but I'm a senior this year. My emphasis is also the microbiology and fermentation track, since my interests are in microbes, genetics, and cell biology. Some of my favorite classes I've taken at Davis so far include Biz 2B, which many of you probably will take this year because of a very specific professor. Biz 101, which was gene and gene expression, Biz 104, which was cell biology, Bit 171, which was biotech ethics, and Mic 102, which was intro to microbio. And what I really like about our major is that it's super interdisciplinary. So you get to take classes across so many different departments, and the 4 different emphases really give you a variety of choices. And even though I think all three of the students so far have talked about the microbiology and fermentation option, it's not for everyone, and that's perfectly fine. So I encourage you to take everything you might hear today or from other people with a grain of salt and keep an open mind about what you might grow to enjoy throughout your college experience. On my personal goal, I would like to work in the healthcare/pharma biotech world, and I've found that my emphasis in the classes I've chosen so far have really prepared me for the variety of internships I've had. So in terms of academic internships, I actually began the winter quarter of my freshman year as a research assistant with Dr. Diane Beckles, which you guys heard from earlier. And I really just took a deep breath and sent out cold emails to professors as a freshman and was lucky enough to have Dr. Beckles take me under her wing. So I was in her lab for about a year and a half, and I was studying cold-tolerant tomatoes, and I gained a lot of my core research design, lab organization, and technical lab skills there. And then last year, I moved to study lymphatic cancers in the microbiology and molecular genetics department. And as for relevant industry experiences, I've interned for Amgen and also a diagnostics startup. So 2 different summers, of course, but I've had the opportunity to see really a wide range of industry perspectives from both very big companies to very small companies. And then finally, I'm a peer advisor and research ambassador with the Undergraduate Research Center on campus. So usually in non-COVID times, you can find us on the 2nd floor of the Student Community Center. But due to the current situation, we do all our events and advising online. It's never too early to look into lab internships and get involved in research. I definitely did it my freshman year, and not all research are wet labs. So if standing at a bench and pipetting chemicals doesn't sound fun to you, I assure you that there's still a plethora of other research opportunities to get involved in. So if you're at all interested in research, I highly recommend checking out the URC website, which is urc.ucdavis.edu, and start brainstorming what type of research you might be interested in trying out. And also feel free to shoot any research-related questions at me, and I will do my best to answer them. So that's about all I have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Megan. Okay, and last we have Sina Rafazida. She is a biotechnology alum. She graduated last spring 2019, and she was also a peer advisor as well for the major. Sina?
Hi, Nancy. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I graduated in 2019. I was a peer advisor for, I think, a year and a half or 2 years maybe. And I was an officer in the Biotechnology Club. I was the treasurer. And I definitely think the biotech major was the right choice to make. I think that a lot of people I've met after graduating are really impressed with like the courses and like the materials that we went over in the major. I'm also, I didn't mention, I was a bioinformatics emphasis. And I just wasn't sure at first what emphasis I wanted to choose. So I took like an intro to computer science course, and I took some other intro courses to get a taste of the other options, and the computer science one is what interested me the most. And I definitely think that a lot of the courses, especially like the genomics courses, are relevant to what I've been doing now. Now I work in diagnostics. I used to work at a different diagnostics company, but I got that position actually because the hiring manager went to Davis. So that was an interesting like connection, because then she like had heard so much about like, you know, the biotech department and all these things. So that was actually really cool. But yeah, so I mean, I interned at a diagnostics vet lab in Davis. And so that kind of got me interested in the diagnostics world. And it's kind of cool because I still get to do some, you know, bioinformatics tasks here and there, but it's a little bit of everything. And I think that at least with diagnostics, any of the options would do great in this field.
Great, thank you so much, Sina. So now we're going to go into Q&A portion for our student speakers. So feel free to unmute yourself or submit a question in the chat. Let's see. I think Jada answered some questions already for the Biotech Club that were in the chat. I actually have a question for all four of our speakers that maybe each one of you can answer. What is the one piece of advice that you would give to our new students coming in this year? Sina, Megan, Jada, Tasia, if you want to answer that.
I can start.
Thank you.
This is Sina. I think my biggest piece of advice would be to really put yourself out there. Like someone was mentioning before, like cold calling professors or cold emailing professors to, you know, get that internship experience you think you may not be qualified for, but you never know because they always need some help, and it's a great learning opportunity. And a lot of other big companies and startup companies always have internships available specifically for college students. So I think that's something that I wasn't too aware of, but they always have like deadlines in like early spring or like in like February or so. And that'd always be a good learning experience to get some sort of, you know, industry experience to know what you want to do.
I guess I'll go next. So my piece of advice more relates to classes. I think one of the scary things about college is choosing the classes and choosing, you know, which professors to take classes with. And I think my biggest piece of advice is to keep an open mind. You might see things on Rate My Professor, or you might hear things from your fellow students, but I've found there are many different times where a class or a professor that I've heard maybe difficult things about, I have ended up really enjoying. So keep an open mind, especially for classes that you have to take, like organic chemistry, and you may be surprised because you might just like it.
Good advice.
I could go
Thank
next.
you. Yeah, Jada, yes, please.
Okay, I think my piece of advice would be to acknowledge that it's okay to feel scared. I know it's a feeling that everyone experiences in college, but just listen to your emotions and your feelings. I have gone through my fair share of like rejections to professors' emails, or if I've gotten a bad score on a test, but I just want to let you all know that it's okay to like feel what you're feeling.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all of those. I think my piece of advice would probably be don't be afraid to ask for help. If at any time you do feel like you're struggling, just always be proactive, especially don't be afraid to reach out to Nancy, to me, to friends, to family, to professors, to TAs, because it's better to help early on than try to play catch up and find a solution when it might be too late. So whenever you feel like you do need some sort of help, feel free to reach out, send an email, make an appointment. But yeah, definitely feel free to get help.
Thank you. Good advice. We did get a question. What advice would you give to a student who hasn't decided which track to take yet? If someone wants to maybe give some thoughts on that.
I have an answer to that one.
Great. Thanks, Jada.
For someone who doesn't know what track they want to do, I would suggest maybe like reading through the emails that Nancy sends out, because there's plenty of opportunities. That's how I learn about the different career options, or even taking classes that you normally wouldn't take. For example, one of my favorite classes here was SAS 13, which was based on disease, and it really helped me figure out that it might be something that I want to do.
Yeah, I would recommend taking Bit 91. That's a 1-unit seminar during the during the winter quarter. So that'll be next quarter. And it goes over all the emphases, and it has a lot of guest speakers come in, also people from the department. So that's a really good help for just gauging like the overall, like what biotechnology is all about, and also our department. So I definitely recommend taking that. It's also required for first year students, so you will have to take it anyway. So whenever you get the chance and you can fit it into your schedule, I recommend taking that course.
Great, thank you. Okay, so let's see if there's any other questions. Someone is asking, are any of you considering continuing your education in graduate school? And if you are, what are your reasons? So is anyone thinking about grad school?
I can answer that. I mean, I already graduated, so I think that also helps me consider grad school more than someone who may be in their undergrad. But yeah, I think that I would like to do something in bioinformatics or a more like computational bio type grad program. I think that it just gives you that extra like dive into your emphasis, because I think you get a great overview in the biotech major, but then I feel like once you get into the industry, you realize there's certain skills that would really help you specific to whatever roles you take on. So I think like for me, doing some sort of computational grad program would be really helpful with, you know, like different like programs and just processing information and data differently. But I think that just also depends on what roles you take on later and what your emphasis is.
I guess I can also answer this question. So as a senior right now, I'm actually currently applying to grad schools, which Dr. Beckles has been very helpful with, but I'm kind of on a different track. So even though I was a microbiology and fermentation emphasis, and I'm really involved in that STEM heavy world right now, my future goal is to do something more like project or product management or business operations for a biotech company. So right now, a lot of the programs I'm looking at are dual masters in business and science or kind of a hybrid MBA program. And yeah, so I guess it's a different perspective of what you can also do with this major.
Thank you. And I also just want to say, you know, if you have questions about, you know, grad school, if it's the right decision for you, you know, what grad programs better aligned with what your future goals are, you can always reach out to Professor Beckles or one of the faculty emphasis advisors. And we also have pre-grad advising at UC Davis. They're a separate office on campus. And I think I usually email out newsletters as they come in to you guys. But pre-grad advising is great if you have questions about just the process of applying to graduate school, GREs, letters of recommendation, drafting your statement of purpose. Okay, are there any other questions? Okay. All right. Okay, so I think that might be it for today. I want to thank all of our speakers for taking time out of their schedule to come in. I want to thank all of you for participating, and I want to welcome you all to the fall quarter. I know it's, like we said in the beginning, it's kind of an interesting time that we're living in right now, and I just want to applaud all of you for, you know, navigating through this as we all are, and just know that we're here to support you. I'm going to have drop-in hours on my Zoom today from 2 to 4. If you have any questions, feel free to pop by or even say hello. I'm going to put my Zoom link info in the chat. And then I don't know, Professor Beckles, if you have anything that you'd like to say?
Yes. I really want to thank everybody who participated, and especially for Nancy for organizing this and putting it all together. For the students, what we wanted to do for you today was to provide you with baseline information to help you on your path from where you are right now as a freshman all the way through graduation. And there have been some themes that have been echoed throughout this presentation. Be brave, ask questions. It's good to have a plan, but be open to changes in opportunities based on information that you get. Nancy, the peer advisors, the Biotech Club, faculty advisors, we're all here to give you the support that you need. But you know, this is your enterprise, this is your business. You are gonna have to be responsible for yourself. We're here to help. Take advantage of all these opportunities that are here. And I think you got some excellent advice. And on that note, I think I just, like Nancy, want to wish you a really fun and exciting fall quarter. It will get scary at times, but just remember to be brave and to be open. So my email address is on this slide. I would love to hear from you, and I will try my best to support you in any way that you can. And I really look forward, you know, 3-4 years from now, to having some of you serve on the student panel. And I would also love for you to let me know if there's any other pieces of advice that I missed that you think incoming students should know based on your experience. So with that, thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great fall quarter.
Okay, bye. Can you unmute and sort of give yourselves a round of applause?
Unmute everybody. Just
unmute. Thank you to the panelists. Thank you for showing up.